Good evening and welcome to Mental Health Matters After Hours. This is the show where we talk about all things mental health and well-being, and while so much of our show is practitioner-led, we also find it really important to listen to lived experiences, because actually you are the expert on your experience. And if you hear something tonight that resonates with you, we really have our wonderful guest to thank. This is Ceciliah Chigwada, and thank you for joining us in the studio. You have quite a story to share.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, it's such a pleasure. Jude and I love chatting with people who have, been through a lot, but come through the other side, because I think that's just so powerful and so inspiring to our viewers.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here. Now, you approached us, in fact, and this was because you knew your story would resonate with others. You've been through so much personally, so much professionally. Can you tell us about some of those key events that shaped you?
To start off with, I think I'll start off with my upbringing.
Yeah.
I was born in a family, we were about 9 of us, and looking back now, I realized that I was brought up differently from my siblings. I was never at home at all, and I was shuttling around my mother's relatives. And my mother's relatives, most of them, I would say they were like on the poverty line. It was hard. It was hard. And I recall one of my aunties that I lived with, you know, like in Zimbabwe, we will have a room like this one divided into 4.
Yes.
And you have 4 families, a bed, and then just covers. Yeah. So I would sleep under the bed because there was nowhere for me to sleep.
Gosh.
Or I would stay with my grandfather, who, on my mother's side, who lived in a place where there was no electricity at all. There was an outside toilet. And then my other uncle also, you know, during apartheid, during those days, we never used to have like proper toilets where we use one toilet where people have to do your stuff, and then you pour water once. It was just terrible. So going home, sometimes I'll be at home, and then my mom and dad used to fight a lot. And there were times when, looking back now, is when they used to fight, one of my mom's relatives will come in and pick me up. So when I look back now in time, it with everything that got revealed at the end, I was staying with my stepdad.
Okay.
So it was a secret that my mother.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
You know, so when all was happening to me, it was normal.
Yeah.
My uncles loved me, you know, and stuff like that. But then I used to go to the welfare system because my stepdad had a well-to-do job. So I used to go to the welfare system where I'll have clothes, second-hand clothes given to me, where I'll have some food like a cup of beans, a tin of rice and maize, you know, stuff like that. Looking back, I'm like, no, something definitely wasn't right. And then when my stepdad was very unwell, he suffered a stroke. That's when I came home, and I had to nurse him.
Oh gosh.
And I would miss going to school.
Oh no.
And this is also despite not knowing the family situation. Oh my goodness.
I only got to know the family situation in 2019.
Wow, that is not long ago.
Wow.
No, it's not long ago. So, and I looked after him. But the good thing was that he never showed any hatred towards me. Problems that he used to have problems, he would fight with his wife. So having grown up like that, then my stepdad having died, then that's when I started to stay at home.
Right.
And as family. But my mom had her own favorite children. I wasn't I wasn't her favorite. I remember one time when they were talking, I was walking to the shops and I met this one guy. He just slaps me. And
randomly?
Just randomly. So I go back home and I'm crying. And I'm saying to my mom, she was with her cousins. And I'm saying to my mom, I was hit by this guy. And my mom turned around and she says, it was supposed to happen because I'm murmuring about you.
Oh.
And I'm thinking, okay. So I just left it there. Then I was going to school now, but still in the welfare system. And then I did my high school. So when I finished my high school, I got a job immediately. But through all that, I was saying to myself, you know, I don't want to see my siblings go through what I went through.
Oh, bless you.
You know, so that's how it shaped me in a way. I put others first. And then now I realize, like, I was planning my future with people who were planning theirs without me.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yes, it is heartbreaking. That's the part of the side of my growing up. Then when I was in the police for 10 years, no, for 8 years in the police force. Then I joined Air Zimbabwe. Luckily, you know, I set up the Victoria Falls Airport security office, and it's still running until today. Yes. So then I came here. I used to come here when I was working for Air Zimbabwe. So and when the system was changing at home, and then I came here. So I was like a mother. When I talk to people about my experience, they always say, "Well, you're the firstborn." I'm like, "No, I was number 5."
Wow, yeah.
But I carried the burden of somebody who was like the firstborn. The firstborn wasn't like, you know, I will leave it there. So in Zimbabwe, we grew up under apartheid.
Yes.
Where I'm going now is where we're restricted to, like, when you are blacks. You either be a nurse, or you're a social worker, or you are a teacher. So then coming here, like most Zimbabweans who come here, they're in that field.
Yeah.
If you look at it, they're in that field.
Okay.
So I decided, no, because of my police experience and because of my management role running a Zimbabwe office, because I was working with all the departments in the tourist resort, you know, so I had quite good experience. I remember there was the Choga meeting in 1996 where heads of state came to Victoria Falls for the Choga meeting. And I was communicating with every department. I got to meet Bill Clinton.
Amazing.
And John Major was the prime minister then. It was so nice.
Wow.
So when having come here and trying to fit in to where I'm supposed to work, you apply for jobs directly. I guess because you know how it's like with racism in this country. It's very rife. I won't get a job. The only high-profile jobs that I've worked in this country is through agency, because agency, they look at a person who's experienced and qualified. That's how I've worked in these high-profile jobs.
They have been really high-profile. You've given a speech at the Labour Party conference.
Yes.
You know, they're high-profile.
Yes, it was, and I spoke about something that's not spoken about. I spoke on racism and our children being disproportionate in society, because my niece wanted to study project management. She was told point blank, if you study project management, you won't get a job. But what surprised me was...
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
So what surprised me was when I finished the speech, the chairperson who was conducting the session says to me, "Thank you, delegate, for your bravery." And I'm thinking, what's so brave about it? You know, so yeah. So with the jobs, I don't know whether to explain further. I got a job with one of the organizations where I went there as an agency staff. I was supposed to work as a health and safety coordinator. But then there was a guy who had gone on sabbatical leave, who was the health and safety advisor. So I worked as a health and safety advisor, but being paid as a health and safety coordinator.
Do you know what though? That's not necessarily racism. That's what happens all the time, and it could be it could be a woman thing.
Yes.
It could be an age thing as well. But it happens more often to women that they're made to work a role which they're not being paid to do.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, okay. So yeah, I worked hard. I mean, I know my stuff, so I worked so hard, and it was in the well-being department as well. So I had to merge the departments, the surgery stuff where a GP visits quite often, and then the well-being, and then health and safety. So I merged those departments, which when that guy came back from sabbatical leave, he was laid off, and they kept me there for almost 2 years.
Oh, wow.
You know, like Bedfordshire's got, I think, 28 police stations and about 17 substations. So I used to travel a lot, and I used to love that.
Yeah.
So as we went on, then I decided to go to uni to do my BA honors degree in business management, and I did that degree in 1 year. So when I decided to go to uni, my manager was away. So the director approved me to go to uni. When she came back, she didn't want me to go to uni. I was like, she didn't want to sign. So I said to her, unfortunately, I've been approved by the director to go to uni. And then she starts talking about, now the conversation shifts. She starts talking about when she was like, so you're going to spend 3 years. I was like, no, I'm doing it in a year. That's not possible. I said, no, it's going to be possible. That's going to be hard for you. And I'm like, it's me.
Yeah, I know myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. So, and then she was like, when she was going to university, she was working in a pub as a waitress and in nightclubs. And I'm thinking, where is this conversation going? You know?
Yeah.
So when the job was being made permanent, they got a young girl to come and take over the position.
No.
You haven't been there 2 years. Yes. So this girl, I was supposed to do the handover. They decided to plan a retreat where we're supposed to go there, have fun for the weekend. But I mean, it hit me hard. I was like, why should somebody else come? Oh, because she's got chartered manager status. I was like, okay, fine. If that's the case, chartered manager status is going to work. So I just switched off and I went home. It hit me hard because I worked so hard. I put so many systems in place and things like that.
Terrific.
So then they called me to say I must come and do a handover. I said, look, I don't think I'm the person to do a handover. She's supposed to have done a handover to me. So I'm not handing over my stuff. And I left it like that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It's just listening to you. What's so sad actually is that you've been through so much personally. You've dealt with it, which I think has given you the strength to deal with all the stuff professionally. And yet you still come across those similar behaviours, planning your future with people who are planning a future without you. I think that was such a powerful phrase that you used.
Yes, it really was.
Do you think that your experiences growing up, being able to, do you think your resilience worked against you or works against you? I know that's a really funny question to ask, but sometimes I feel that happens. You get so used to saying, I can do it, I can cope with it. The red flag when it's toxic doesn't go off. Because you think, I've been through worse. Do you think your resilience has actually been part of, been a problem?
I think it's a mixture of both, negative and positive. Because on the positive side, I think it plays a role where you are taken advantage of.
Yes, I think it can.
Yeah.
And I think that's I see that in my clients, you see. So that's why I asked the question to you.
Yes.
And I don't think that's not to say don't be resilient, but it is to say resilience can make us excuse things which should not be excused just because we can cope with it.
That's a really good point.
Sorry.
No, it's a really good point.
It can also make you stronger, stronger
of course.
person.
It can.
And
absolutely.
And you like, I have to fight for myself. And at the same time, I'm not going to change my attitude.
Good for you.
I think that really comes out, your resilience and your strength, and you keep getting back up, But as you say, it can also make us think, I won't
It's
worry
fine.
about that.
Yeah.
I'll just get on with it because, you know, and then you rise above it. But sometimes you have to say, that's not right. You can't do that to me, sort of. So it's
double-edged sword, isn't it?
Double-edged sword, exactly right. Yeah.
I mean, like when I look at it as well, is I never had a childhood. I became a mother.
Straight away at a very young age.
away.
You were taking on responsibility early, which means that responsibility is nothing to you. Merging three departments, working out security, nothing to you, because
huge.
you were at 7 years old already responsible for a family, then you were a carer. But that's where I just question that resilience. You know, as I say, we always talk about resilience as a positive thing, but I think we need to recognise it can cause us to not speak up when things are not right.
Yeah.
And with my family, I was suppressed.
Gosh, what a story.
I know, absolutely.
So from everything you've said, I mean, you talked about that you sort of see racism and its rife, you said. Yeah. So what would you like to see being done about unconscious bias, and is training enough? Or do we need something else?
Unconscious bias comes in many ways. Like sometimes it could be the background, or it could be the upbringing, it could be maybe society. Sometimes also it could be like location. For example, with racism, it's come a long way. Like I went through that when I was in Zimbabwe, and it was accepted. And whilst all that was going on, I think my strength, because my mom was also at a certain extent a source of strength. You're like, I should concentrate on who I am and where I want to go.
We are going to carry on with this conversation. We are keeping Cecilia. We will be back after some tips from our experts.
These 3 tips are for anybody, but I use them particularly. They work really, really well with children of all ages. So whether it's an 18-year-old, a 25-year-old, or a 5-year-old. And there are 3 things. So children anxiety is the most prevalent emotion that they come with, because it's on top of whatever else is going on.
Yes.
There may be grief and anger and loneliness and everything else, but anxiety is what comes out on top. So a really simple way that I give to children of all ages is when they're feeling really anxious, and it might be they're going into an exam or just having to step into school, which for so many is becoming a real issue these days, is to do the double nose breathe, which is something they can do really subtly. So they're feeling really anxious, and I get them to breathe in twice, really deeply, one after the other, till you've filled your lungs as hard as you can. So through the nose. Hold it for a moment, and then I get them to visualise that they're blowing bubbles through a very thin straw into the bottom of a glass. And they've got to watch in their mind the bubbles coming up until they've got nothing more. And then just to stop for a moment, and then to repeat it another couple of times. And it literally calms the nervous system down and brings everything down, which then gives them room in their minds to think clearly about what next. And to see small children doing that, and really sort of, they always take their shoulders up to the top, and then but the whole focus of that is taking away the panic that they're feeling about the way they're feeling. That's number 1. Number 2 is a lot of children are anxious because they experience people saying horrible things. It can be parents who are saying things that parents might think are just off-the-cuff remarks, but actually really kind of wound the child. It can be name-calling in the playground, which is one of the biggest things. It can be anything that makes them feel scared, going into school, just the whole thing about leaving a parent, getting onto a school bus when you know there's all these big kids, brings up the anxiety. So I get them to imagine that they have a magic bubble. And the magic bubble is made of thickened glass that can't break, and you can step right into it. And everybody can see in, and you can see out, and everything carries on as normal, but it gives you a perfect shield. And if they're young, I'll say to them, you know, what are you really into? They might be into ninjas or unicorns or rainbows or footballs. So you've got a ninja bubble or a unicorn bubble, and it gives it an image in their head. And I say, right, the minute you get out of the car or off the bus or you walk through the school gates, imagine that you're in your magic bubble. And that when people say things to you in the playground, or you've got a really shouty teacher who's shouting at you, you just know that the words hit the outside of your bubble and slide off around the edge and onto the floor. And I first took that into a school where a whole pile of children who were like 7 and 8, new kids had come in from a very difficult background who were very aggressive, and the whole class was hypersensitive and anxious. And I explained this to them, came back the next week and said, did anybody use the magic bubble? All the hands went up.
Oh. Wow.
And one of the children said, I even used it, we have a very shouty teacher, and I even used it in her lessons. And I just let the words slide down to the floor, and I don't feel her anymore. And the teacher was standing behind her.
Oh.
And there was a little, like, red came up. And the headmaster said that he'd watched these children teaching the older children in the playground to have a magic bubble. It sounds so innocuous. It's really powerful. And the final one is actually for children or anybody who has separation anxiety, which can be so powerful and so harmful. And I know one boy I work with who lived next to his primary school, and he knew there was a hole in the hedge. And when it came to maths, all he wanted to do was be with his mum. Oh. And he started sneaking out and running through the hedge until it was discovered what he was doing. So what I said to him was, when you think of your mum, what colour do you associate with her? And he said blue. And I said, right, I've got a project for you and mum to do together. So I sent them to go and find pebbles that he liked the feel of, that had real substance, not tiny ones, but ones he could have in the palm of his hand. Go and choose half a dozen pebbles that really work for you. And then I said, Mum, take your son to a nail bar and let him choose the nail colour that best represents the blue that he sees as you. And then he went home and he painted all of the pebbles that blue. And he kept them in his pocket and in his school bag and in his desk and under his pillow. And every time he walked into school with that awful aching fear of leaving mum, he would grasp the pebble in his hand. She did a little ceremony with him, you know, filling them with love. And it made such a difference. Wow. And I've used it ever since. And kids, say it really, parents saying it's giving their children real confidence to step off out knowing that they've got the loved one with them. Yes. Without having to have them right in front of them.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters After Hours, where we're talking to Cecilia. It's a really interesting conversation about overcoming adversity and resilience in the workplace, but beyond as well. So, as humans, we all want to be liked. We kind of have a bit of a drive, If somebody doesn't like us, how can we prevent ourselves in trying to make them like us? And if their reasons mean they're not a very nice person, kind of how do we stop doing that?
I don't know where to start.
It's like, if you are planning a future with people who are planning futures without you, how do you stop planning the future with that person?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes. So, yeah.
It's so hard.
When people don't like you, right?
Yeah.
Personally, instead of making them like me, I've never thought that way. To say they must like me.
Yeah, okay.
You, like in a job, if you like what I'm doing, to me, that's enough. Or when I take it also that people that don't like other people, they are the ones who have a problem.
Okay.
The problem is with them, not me. Because I remember when I was working for EasyJet, there was this girl, she just didn't like me. So one day I said to her, what's your problem? Why don't you like me? She says, because everything seems to look nice on you. I said, well.
It's such a weird thing to say.
She was jealous, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay.
So people just don't hate people. It's people that hate themselves, who have a problem with themselves, or who feel inadequate, who feel... Because you cannot hate someone who's lesser than you. When you feel somebody is bigger than you in everything, or they look nice, or whatever, they dress well. Like even when I worked for Air Zimbabwe, air hostesses hated me with a passion. But each time when they had problems, when I had the chance to revenge, I was nice.
Yeah.
So I feel the other way, you can fix these people. Just be nice. Just be the pick up picture.
I love that. I love that.
It's kind of being the bigger person,
Yeah.
isn't it? And
Yeah, bigger person, yes.
not
true.
kind of lowering yourself to their level.
And I guess separating the need to be liked from just being a decent person. You're not a decent person because people like you, is the point I'm trying to make, I think. You're a decent person despite external validation, I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Nice.
Like I'm always smiling,
Yeah.
even when it's hard. Like even in winter, people are not so happy, are not so very good people. I walk in and I just brighten up, I smile. And people are like, Cecilia, you've never realized that your smile always brightens us. Some people are gossiping to say, she's forever smiling. What's wrong with her?
Yeah.
I said, Lord, I have to be happy within me. I don't need to be, because I've never had love, like genuine love. So I have to find the joy.
Gosh, that's so powerful and so heartbreaking at the same time.
Yeah, it is. But you do. You have a gorgeous smile.
You do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And so, what would you suggest to people who might be experiencing something similar, where they're feeling like they're not liked, or they're trying desperately to make their colleagues like them, I guess, or struggling with
self-love, I guess.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I think I've been in a situation like that where people, they want to get together, or people are going to the pub for a drink. Sometimes on Fridays, lunchtime, people go to the pub for a drink, and she used to get left out. So I would say to people like that, I said, you know what, you're adequate. Love you. If you want to have a drink at the pub, you can go to the pub. You don't have to be where
be
you
invited.
to be invited, or to go where you are going to feel comfortable. Join other people. I'm sure there are other people that will like you, who likes you, and things like that. If you want to go to the pub, go to the pub. I'll do me, and you do you.
I think that's right, because sometimes it's not personal. It's just, it could just be, they didn't think you'd want to go, whatever. There could be a genuine positive reason behind it. I like that.
Yes.
We're going to move on to something else that you're dealing with, and that is invisible illness.
Yes.
Now, this is something we do talk about on this show a lot, because it is something that people don't understand. And in many ways, in a televisual kind of approach, we can look at you and we can see, well, she looks fine.
Yes.
And if you're listening on the radio or driving in your car, she looks wonderful.
She does.
But you do struggle with invisible. Can you tell us a bit about what your day might look like if you have a flare-up?
Because I've had two situations anyway, but the present one is really the pressing one, because it can be life-threatening. And when I'm in pain, I used to take like strong painkillers and stuff like that, and I was on sleeping pills, and and then one day I got up in the morning, I was like, no, enough of this. I've got this surgery that was supposed to come. I'm supposed to have had surgery. The surgeon decided, no, I wasn't going to have the surgery. And I'm supposed to be on continuous medication to suppress the condition, but I'm reacting to the medication.
Oh, no.
So for 5 months, I haven't been taking the medication. And doctors keep saying, I was sharing that with it, they keep saying, when you're not feeling well, you call an ambulance or make sure you get to A&E as soon as possible. And I'm thinking, that's not what I want to hear.
No.
And then I sat down, I was like, no painkillers, no sleeping tablets, and now I'm not taking anything. I can't control the situation. But you know what? I'm just going to work on my stress levels.
Wow.
Concentrate on the things that make me happy and make me smile, and I'll put like on YouTube our African beat music, and I'll dance in the house on my own and make myself happy. And I've realized I'm not feeling okay when I think about it. Then sometimes I have to have the palpitation and stuff. But when it comes, I'm like, no. what is it that I want? I'll have an apple, or I'll take a walk by the river,
I'll
just go window shopping,
Do you mind sharing the diagnosis?
Yeah, I was diagnosed with hyperthyroidism and Graves' disease.
Graves is
Okay.
yeah.
So you know how it's like. So you're supposed to take medication.
Yes.
Graves is one of those.
Yes.
Yes. But then now, doctors look at me and they're like, it can't be right. You know? And I suffered from a long time with fibromyalgia.
Okay.
The pain and whatnot.
Because they are linked, I think, actually.
Yeah,
sometimes.
in a way, yeah. And I thought, I think sometimes you need to tell yourself
Yes.
or tell the system, I am not going to have this. Today I'm going to bed without sleeping tablets and I'm going to sleep. Today I'm just going to have a good day besides the pain. I am not going to take painkillers. I am not going to do this. I am not going to think otherwise. Like I said, I'm a spiritual person. Like the Bible even says, power and death is in your tongue. What you say is what you manifest. So if I'm going to be thinking I've got fibromyalgia, this Graves' disease, I'm supposed to go for this procedure, and then I'm depressed.
Yes.
Of course.
Of course you are.
Yeah. And then now I feel worse. So today, like now, I've been looking forward to this interview, and I'm thinking positive about everything.
Yeah.
The doctors are like, I have had blood tests, and like now my blood tests are borderline
Brilliant.
without
Really?
medication.
Gosh.
I think this is another thing that we could do a whole other show on.
Yes.
Is about. I'm not saying don't take medication, but sometimes we can be over medicated in this society, and what you're saying is sometimes we know our bodies best, and sometimes we have to make those decisions. Just to help people sort of understand a little bit more about invisible illness, I wanted to do a little demonstration, because I can demonstrate, I believe, what it feels like to be living with anxiety. I'm going to use you, Judith, to do this little demonstration.
Okay.
But then the question to you, Cecilia, is what do you think people still don't understand about invisible illness? So anyone who thinks, anxiety's fine, anxiety means you can just function. Judith, I'd like you to go back to any of your questions. I'd like you to introduce the show again and go straight into those questions. Okay, that's all you're going to do.
Right.
I'm just going to whisper in Judith's ear, and this is what anxiety is like. And I think Sarah will be able to pick this up on the mic. I'm just going to take the mic off me so I can carry on and whisper in Judith's ear. So, Judith, you're just going to start.
Okay, so welcome back to Mental Health Matters.
You can't do this.
Office hours, after hours.
Did you see? So you made a
mistake.
See what's going on?
We're talking with, that was
That's
awful.
anxiety.
And that's exactly what it is like,
goes
actually.
on in your head.
Yeah.
You get told things like, you tell yourself, you can't do this, you can't. And then you make a mistake, and then you go, oh, yes, see, I really can't do this.
Yeah.
And so, with that,
That's quite a
so thank
powerful
you for that.
demonstration, actually. Yeah.
It's, I like that one. I use that one in group classes.
Okay.
Just because I don't think people get it otherwise. But
Yeah.
in that respect, what do you think people don't understand?
I think that draws me back to something else. Like when I was having anxiety issues before all this, that was about maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was referred to Wellbeing because the doctors were giving me medicines, drugs and everything. Nothing seemed to be working. So then my GP says to me, is there something worrying you? And then I just broke down. Right. So then he referred me to Wellbeing. This is the interesting bit. When I went to see the lady at the Wellbeing, you see, when people use a script, they tick off.
Yeah.
I feel Wellbeing needs to change. It's not like a one size fits all.
Yeah.
So when I was talking to her, she kept saying other people. I think it got to my head, and I banged on her desk, and I said, stop. Look at me as I am. I am not other people.
So she was talking about people generally not focusing on you.
Yeah.
This is it.
Wow.
I said, no, I am not other people.
Yeah.
I am me. Look at my situation as me. And then I said, just put your script away. Even with GPs, they go on, they open up on their computers and they are reading. It's just like when you call the NHS 11.
Yes.
Right. You are told some of the questions might not be valid.
Yes, exactly.
So
or make them valid.
Yeah. So I use an example of a tree. You've got the roots under the soil, and then you've got the stem. You've got the branch, and then the leaves. So if you're asking me to tell you only one symptom, I might tell you about the stem, but the problem is in the roots. So now even if you are diagnosed, even if you're given medication, you are treating the wrong thing.
Because that's all the information you've got to go on. It's true.
So if you've had a headache, and you've got a headache, it's on the side. But my headache is in my ear.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing. So that's how I look at it, that it has to go back to look at the person as an individual.
Now that is the message to hold on to. Yes. We are going to go over to one of our guest experts to give us their top tips. But hold that thought and we'll be back with this conversation just after this.
When I'm working with my clients, I'm always looking at how they'd like their lives to be different. And I'll say to them, and I use this term a lot, if I had a magic wand, how would you really want it to look? And I'll get them to home in on a particular aspect. So it might be that they would love to have a lot of friends. It might be that they would love to have the opportunity to travel. It might be that they'd like to have confidence with their academic work. And what I'll do is I'll say, just close your eyes for a moment. And imagine that you've got a giant stick and you're drawing a huge circle in the sand around you because you're standing on the beach. And I want you to use your imagination, stepping into that circle and filling it with everything that would be true if the thing that you want most in your life was as good as it could be right now. So supposing that you want to have friends, which comes up a lot with my young clients, and you don't have any, but if you had friends, you would have plenty to select from. You would always feel welcome in the group. You would be having fun times together. You'd be invited to sleepovers. You'd be sharing parties with them. You'd always feel wanted and cared for and part of the group. And you fill that circle with everything that would make it as perfect as it could be. And you walk into it and you immerse yourself in how amazing that would feel. I want you to bring up the emotions into your body of excitement and joy and pride and warmth and love and acceptance and just being part of community. Then we step out of that and we draw a separate circle and you look at what is your actual current reality, what is the truth? And in that circle you put the hard nuts and bolts of what life is like now, that you feel in isolation, that your friends are short-lived, that they always want to play with somebody different, they've always got somebody better, they don't like what you've said, they are punishing in the way that they treat you, they are bullying in the way that they treat you, even though you'd like to think they're your friends. And you put everything about how you feel in that box. This is your current reality. Now, when you look between current reality and the vision, it's like standing at the bottom of Everest. And you feel, how can I possibly get from one to the other? And the simple thing is that we take steps. And all you need to do is find the first step to take. So for a young person who's struggling with friendship, that first step might be literally that I'm going to walk into school every day standing taller, with my shoulders back and with a feeling of expansion, because that alone will draw a different energy from other people and will draw a different attention. And if you're walking in like the person that nobody likes, you're bound to be closed in, your shoulders down, your head's down. People look at you and think, I don't want to be a part of that energy. So the very first step is just perhaps changing your body language. And when you've done that for a while, you then go back into your circles and think, what's my next one simple step? And it makes Everest much easier to climb.
Welcome back to Mental Health Matters After Hours, where we're having a really great discussion with Cecilia. We wondered why is it so important to you to share your story, and what do you hope that our viewers will take away?
I feel strongly why I should share my story is because sometimes when we go through issues, we were made to feel worse than better. So I'm sharing my story to say every individual, you have the strength and the resilience to change your narrative. So this is with what I've gone through and what I've been and the things that have happened and done, and with family or friends or workmates, and still here I am. So you can do it. It can happen.
Strong message.
You know, so yeah, that's why I want to share this story, to say there's nothing impossible. You know, like I'll give an example of my nephew. This one is a funny one. My nephew, I think at that time we didn't know anything about being autistic. I think he was hyper. You know, everything that he used to do, you break stuff, you know, he'll do all sorts of weird things. And my mom will say, leave him alone. This one, he's crazy. You know, he's crazy. So him, the mother, they went to visit friends. I think they were having a do or something. There was this ball of, what you call a fish ball.
Oh, yeah.
And he just picks it, throws it against the wall. And the mom was like, how dare you? He says, don't forget I'm crazy.
Oh.
So this is an example that I'm trying to give, to say people will make you what you are not supposed, what you are not.
Yeah.
So you have to fight for you.
Yes.
So that's why I don't know if this example fits, but
it's a great
It does. No, it does, because it does. It actually is. It's a double-edged one, because it can show you how you could turn someone crazy.
Yes.
Because of labeling them that the whole time, but also how you can subvert it and go, right, you want to call me crazy? You haven't seen nothing yet, you know. Which I think there's an ownership in that, and a rebellion, which I absolutely love.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how I look at it. That is possible.
Yeah,
you can change your story around, and don't just accept what you are being told, even by anyone, or I mean, like even with doctors and when you are a user, you know, don't just take everything literally.
Yeah.
You know, I've had mistakes done when people have spoken to me, even with the health, even like with accommodation. I think the other issue here being people are suppressed. They can't speak out. You know, so we need to teach people to come out of the shell, express themselves, even when they feel people are not giving them the chance, but just speak out, stand for yourself. You know who you are, you know what you want, you know what you need. But then we get suppressed.
So what's helped you find your voice?
I speak.
Oh, I love that. That is such a simple answer.
Yeah, love it.
Oh my gosh. And actually, which I think that's the perfect answer. To bring that on to the next question, which would be, how would you help other people find their voices? What if they think they can't speak because they have been told your voice doesn't matter? How do you help them? How would you help them get over that?
I do a lot of counseling spiritually. Right, so I do teach people to say you have to be strong for you. I don't know how to put it. We are conditioned in this country that you have to rely on about everything. Services, even when it comes to the doctors, or when it comes to, you know, like for example, I'll give you an example with my housing association, or they're terrible. So in this country, there's always a place to go to. Like the ombudsman.
Yes.
You can, if it's jobs, you can go to the tribunal. There's always help on outside the ball game. But then people make you feel as if you can't do anything, you can't go anywhere. So with the housing association, I've been having problem. Like even with my condition, I felt there was a gas that was being emitted from the boiler. I've been calling the TSG to come and have a look, and no one was responding. And that was... like my stress levels were skyrocketing. So I decided to write a very strong letter to BPHA, to management, to say, look, this ABCD has been going on. Now we've got data. No one is coming to clean our corridors, even the yard, and everything. And I said, if I don't get a response, I'm going to the press. Oh, they did jump around.
Of course, yes.
Of course they do.
So people need to speak out.
Yes.
And even like when people have problems, people don't just have mental health issues. Something triggers it.
Yeah. Oh, yes, definitely. Cecilia, it's been such a pleasure chatting with you. Where can we learn more about you?
Sorry?
Where can we find out more? Can we follow you on LinkedIn? Where can we find you?
I'm a bit of a novice when it comes to internet.
Okay.
But then, yeah, I'll start. I've got Facebook pages that I want to work on, especially on well-being. Because I tackled that. I nearly died of depression.
Gosh.
But I made it. And I would like to, if I'm given the chance to speak and share my stories, that will be helpful for me as well, to come out and, speak in some of the events. Yeah.
So work in progress then.
Yeah.
So when you're ready to launch your book, then we'll be able to start following you and find you online. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Cecilia. It's been such a pleasure. We are now going to go over to Test the Trend. So for this week's Test the Trend, what I want to challenge you to do is to really try and experience what it's like to have certain conditions. Very much like the little experiment that I did with Jude. We don't always understand what it's like going on in someone's head when they have certain conditions, but there are many ways that you can learn. There are well-being cafes. There are things like dementia cafes, cancer cafes, carer cafes, grief cafes, places where you can speak to people going through it. Don't judge, but just go and experience, go and learn, be curious about it. But then you've also got things like the autism bus. And that one's probably for a group or an organisation to run. But if you go onto this autism bus, it gives you an experience of what it can feel like when you are on the autistic spectrum. Another great one is a dementia experience, and this you can do online. I don't know whether I've got the link here, no, but I will put it in the show notes. If you go online, you can go into an app which shows you what it's like to go shopping with dementia, and you'll go through into the supermarket and you'll have your notes with you saying, I need to get eggs and I need to get milk, and you get to look at that because you're carrying it with you. And then you look at the signs, and the signs, it's a little bit like dyslexia. You can't quite make out what the signs are. You might look at all the stuff on the shelves. They all look exactly the same. And then even though you know that your son or daughter who's just rung you up has told you, you need to get milk, you need to get eggs, you actually even forget you've got the list with you. And it's a really powerful app and a powerful little experiment. So I do challenge you to try that and go out and learn from other people about what they're going through. So that's your challenge for this week on Test the Trend. I want you to go out there and not only share any lived experience, but go and be curious about the lived experience of others. What a great conversation.
Oh, really interesting and heartbreaking at points as well.
So
very moving, yeah.
And I think this is why it's so nice to have lived experience on this show, because I know we tend to have a lot of practitioners, which is wonderful.
Yeah.
We're there to give that support and advice. But I think lived experience can resonate sometimes more than a practitioner or an academic saying, oh, this is what it's all about.
I think so, because what kind of struck me when we were listening to Cecilia is there's, millions of people all over the world living lives so different to the ones that we have lived and experienced.
Yes.
And it just, obviously we know that, that happens, but it just makes it so real. Other people's lives are just so real then, and you just think, gosh, this is what other people go through every day.
And then when you put it into the context of a GP checking off your symptoms, it becomes completely unthinkable as to why people think that's a good idea.
Well, exactly, because it shows the diversity of people, people, and even two people having the same condition can experience it so differently.
Absolutely.
And so you can't lump people into a box or, into groups, oh, these people have this, because they're all different anyway. So,
and it's this is always a thing that gets me, and this may keep you up at night if I say it, but I will sometimes look at, say, we've got a green screen in here, and is that shade of green the same shade of green that you're seeing, that I see?
I think about that all the
And
time.
I see. That's what I should have whispered in your ear. But I don't know whether it is.
No, whether we experience the same reality.
We call it green because that's what we've been taught that particular shade is. But maybe what I'm looking at is actually blue in your eyes, but I've been taught that that's green. So anything that's blue, I now call green because that's what I've been taught.
I know, and that's entirely possible. And yeah, it's things like that I do think about quite a lot. So yeah, it's interesting, and you might not even be experiencing sitting here the same as me. So we're both here. We've both got a completely different vantage point, though.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Plus, it might have a completely different feel for you than it does for me.
Yes, and we also don't know what our bodies are going through. So invisible illness, all of those things. What is actually going on?
Yeah.
So don't judge, be curious, but try not to let that keep you up at night.
Yeah.
And from all of us here at Mental Health Matters, have a good night.